So today we are looking at the MX Linux 23.4. So here is the boot menu of MX Linux 23.4. So here in the boot menu we have the options of from F1 to the F7. So I'm running it on the virtual machine, which is VMware with 60 GB of virtual disk, 8 GB of RAM, and my CPU is i5 1240p. And also the experience in the virtual machine will be, sometimes there will be hiccups here and there, but most of the time it will be running properly. And when you compare it to the bare metal will be working flawlessly. So you don't judge on the virtual machines, always try it on your own and decide whether to use it or not. So let's continue with the video. So when you click on the F2, here are the languages. So you get this much of languages in the boot menu. About the F3, you can see the time zone. So I'm choosing the Los Angeles. And about the F4 option, here are the options. And for the F5, here is the persist. F6 is the failsafe. And about the F7, it's the console. So let's quickly boot it in the live boot. So the ISO file is released on September 15, 2024. So that's the reason it says as a September. So let's quickly boot it in the live boot. So this is the fourth stable update for MX Linux 23. The codename is Libretto for the 23. And the MX 23.4 is based on Debian 12.7 bookworm repositories. And for some of the viewers who want the country of origin of MX Linux it is Greece. And the available desktop environments for this MX Linux is KDE Plasma, Xfce, and the Fluxbox. And updates about this 23.4, it came after like 4 months after the release of MX Linux 23.3. So this is after 4 months, and this is the fourth point update. And in this version you should be getting the Linux kernel 6.1.106 kernel, and also the AHS now uses Linux kernel 6.10.10 LiquidX kernel. And the main things, there are a lot of main things, but I'm just going to highlight a few things, and we can clearly go through all those things later. So it has updated the Xfce 4.18 core packages, which is Xfce ISOs and respin, and much more will be and other things will be covered throughout the video. So I'm just highlighted all those things. So we have our desktop layout here. So the basically booting process will take like 2 or 3 minutes, but in this case the booting process took just a minute and a half. So as you can see, while I was discussing all those things, we have our desktop layout here. So it says MX Linux 23.4. The codename of 23 is Libretto. And here is the user demo. Password is demo. The username and password for the live boot is DEMO, and the password is DEMO. And about the super user root, and password is root. So when you click on about, here are all the information, and here is all the things. So I already mentioned it's based on Debian 12.7 and supported until June 2028, which is almost like 3 years or 4 years. And desktop environment Xfce version 4.18.1. and about the information, here you can see the kernel 6.1.0. and here are other information like INXi is 3.3.26. so let's close everything, and let's first go to the display settings, and we can go through all those things. So I'm running it on the virtual machine, so it's automatically changes the resolution. It's a VMware, so it's going to change automatically, but in the virtual box you need to change according to your resolution. So let me first open the task manager, because we need to see how much of resources it's consuming. So I already mentioned that the user experience in the virtual machines will be different, and also in the bare metal will be different. So in the bare metal it's going to performing way better. So you need to understand these common things, and you can judge the Linux distro according to this. So this is the stable release, which I already mentioned. The version is MX Linux 23.4. So these are all the process running right now as soon as we boot it. So I didn't open any of the application, or I didn't change anything. So not even the displays. So I just changed in the VMware, so it automatically changed. So in order to see whether the CPU is pretty much stable or not, you need to run like a 60 seconds, or else you can just keep the task manager in the right side corner. So I'm going to do that type of thing in every type of video. So in the previous videos also I just keep the task manager in the right side corner so you can see all the changes throughout the video. So about the RAM, it's consuming 1.2 GB, and about the CPU is pretty much under 10-15%. And about the task manager, here is the version 1.5.7. So when you run like a few seconds, you should be getting the idea of whether the graph is pretty much stable or not by seeing the graph. So about the RAM and about the CPU, it will be way different in the bare metal, because when you run it on the bare metal, the RAM will be a bit lesser also, like a 400-500 MB, maximum will be 400-500 MB, and also CPU will be also a bit less. So about the system requirements and all those things we can discuss throughout the video. So let's first open the Firefox web browser. So we can go to the official website, we can see changes, and also I'm going to show you how to download all those things. So already said there are 3 desktop environments available for the MX Linux. So let's first make it proper so you can see everything without any problem. So let's check the version of the MX Linux. So there are already bookmarks provided from the MX Linux. So you just need to click on it. If you are using it on the main operating system, then before downloading MX Linux, you need to type in like MX Linux. But when you downloaded the MX Linux ISO file, you can easily go through the bookmarks here. So the version you get is the 130. So this is the latest version or the stable version of the Firefox available right now. And there is also the beta version available, which is 131. If you want to check those information, you can go to the official website of Firefox and get all those information. So this is the information of the browser. So before going to the website, let me type in about support. When you type it like this, you should be seeing all the information of the browser and also some of the information of the distro. So let's scroll down. The version we already mentioned, build ID, distribution ID, which is MX Linux, and here is the user agent. So the Linux kernel is 6.1.0-25. So this is the stable or the LTS version. So let's type in Linux kernel. So we just need to go to the official website. For the official website, just type this search term, or you can just type in www.kernel.org in order to go to the official website. So this is the URL. So it says the version here is 6.1. So when you go to the 6.1 version, so it's a long-term version, as you can see. And the stable version right now is 6.10.10, which is released on 2024 September 9/12. So this is the date of the 6.10.10, and also there is a mainline version which is 6.11. So few days back it was a release candidate 7. Right now it's a mainline 6.11. And about the releases, you can just go to the releases and check the version when it's supported and end of life, all those things. So the 6.1 version is released on 2022 on 12/11, and it's supported until December 2026. So you have like a 2 years of support, 2-3 years of support. And in order to check, you can just type in like uname-r and you should be seeing the kernel version. So that was some information of the Linux kernel. So when you scroll it down, you should be also seeing the memory size. I already mentioned I'm using a 8 GB of RAM, so available is 7.7 GB. And disk space is 6.0, which is 6 GB. When you scroll it down, you should be also seeing some browser information like a picture-in-picture and form autofill and all those things. So we are not going to go through all those things because it's going to make a video lengthy. We are just going to focus on the main things. So if you want anything, you can just pause the video and get all those information. So here is some Mesa information, and let's scroll it down. So window protocol, right now we are using the X11 desktop environment, Xfce, and here is some Mesa information. And also when you scroll it down, you should be also seeing the resolution of the monitor. And here are some other important information. You can just pause the video and read everything clearly. So let's go to the official website now, which is MX Linux, or else we can just first go to the MX blogs in order to see the information of the 23.4. So the official website is mxlinux.org, or else you can just search with the search term like mxlinux, and the first link will be the official website. And about the 23.4, let's go and get all the important information. So there are a lot of changes here. So this is the fourth release, which I already mentioned in the beginning, and there are like consisting of bug fixes, kernel updates, and application updates since our original release of MX23. If you're already running MX23, there is no need to reinstall. Packages are all available through the regular update channels or by installing changed applications. So main things here, I already mentioned that it's based on Debian 12.7 bookworm. So the bookworm is the code name of Debian 12. And also this release includes all updates from Debian and MX repositories. So here are some of the highlights since 23.3. So the first thing is updated Xfce 4.18 core packages of Xfce ISS and PyRespin. And the next one is MX Packageinstaller now shows all installed packages in enabled, test, and backport tabs, not just those available in configured repo. Installed and repo version numbers are shown in table, not just tooltips. And the flatpak tab has an optional filter to show only flathub verified flatpaks. So the next point is the MX Live USB Maker defaults to LUKS2 encryption for those making encrypted live USB devices. So this is the third point, and the fourth point is MXP USB Unmounter has UI improvements. So it has UI improvements plus an option to only show an tray if a removable device is inserted. So I'm sitting a bit far from the monitor, so if anything is wrong you can just pause the video and read, or else I'm going to clearly read. So here is the pipewire setup MX updated to make pipewire, wire plumber startup under sysvinit more reliable, especially for KDE users. So here is another for KDE users. And MX Tweaks has a KDE option to disable or enable Plasma Discover's auto start systray updater notifier. So this one is also for the KDE Plasma users, and AHS users have updated firmware packages backported from Debian SID. So about the Fluxbox ISOs now include job scheduler of front end for cron already included on their ISOs. And Conky and panel should be exempt from hiding with Alt-T, show desktop, new MXFB, quick shot delay script that does a screenshot with a pre-configured delay. And these are all the main changes of the 12, not the MX Linux 23.4. So this is the MX Linux 23.4 changes. And other changes like many bug fixes, many language updates, and the final one is many new applications in our MX test repositories. So these are all the main changes of the MX Linux. All kernel updates, the standard Xfce, KDE, and Fluxbox ISOs are all updated to the latest kernel, which is 6.1.106. So this is the LTS version of the Linux kernel, which I already mentioned. And AHS now uses the 6.10.10 LiquidX kernel. So this is also I already discussed in the beginning when the MX Linux was booting. So AHS now uses the 6.10.10 LiquidX kernel. So if in order to download the AHS, you can find the ISOs there. So all kernel updates, the standard, I already mentioned this. The next one is the MX Raspberry Pi respin has also been updated with the latest packages available from the MX and Raspberry Pi iOS repos. So these are all the changes of the 23.4. And about the downloads, you can just directly download from here, which is Xfce desktop with Debian 6.1 sorry, 32-bit kernel. And this one is Xfce desktop and Debian 6.1 kernel, 64-bit. And the AHS, the kernel is 6.10, which I already mentioned. Here is the AHS 6.10.10. So you get the 6.10.10, which is the latest version. I already showed you the Linux kernel website also. So the Linux kernel release date already mentioned. So about the KDE Plasma, you get the KDE Plasma, Xfce, and the Fluxbox. You should be getting the 6.1 kernel, and only the AHS will be getting the 6.10.10 version. So this is the main changes of these 23.4, and here is the Raspberry Pi. So problems reports. So any specific bugs with the MX applications can go to our bug manager at bugs.mxlinux.org. So you can just go here and ask everything here. So advanced, sometimes it's going to block you, but accept the risk and continue. I don't really recommend, but if anything is has issues, then you can just go here and discuss. So here is the file, a bug, search, open a new account, and also here is the documentation. So most of the cases there will be no bugs, but if you find any bugs, you can get all the information right here. And about the downloads, you can just even directly go to the MX Linux website and click on the download, and also you should be getting all the available downloads here. So the flagship desktop, the MX 23.4. so this is the ISO file which I am right now using. So here is also some updates, so it's properly not visible right now, but it's going to be visible. So here are all the information, and about the desktop environment of the downloads, you can download the KDE, Fluxbox, and all the other things. And how to obtain MX, so here is some information, and also how to verify the ISOs, here is the information, and how to make a USB, and also how to install, and about the password which I already mentioned in the beginning. So these were all the main changes, and we can go through all those things now. Let's close everything. So I'm not going to go through all those things because it's going to make a video almost like a 2 hours 3 hours video. I'm not going to show all those things, but we all discuss what are the changes, so you can easily, if you're an MX Linux user, you already know what to do. So let's go to the terminal. Let's open the terminal and get some information. Let me try to type terminal. Let's choose the Xfce terminal emulator. So let me make it bigger so you can see everything properly. So keep an eye on the task manager. So it's having some issues, so I'm just going to leave the. So here you can see the CPU graph and also about the RAM throughout the video, so you can easily judge on your own. You don't need anyone to say about the MX Linux. So that's the reason I always show the task manager and all those things, so you can easily judge on your own. You don't need anyone to judge whether to use these distributions or not. And I'm going to change the background of the terminal so you can properly see. So it says transparent background, so I'm just going to do that like this. And about the terminal, let's check the version. So it says 1.1.3. so let's first try the neofetch. Hit enter. So MX Linux, it says I'm running it on the virtual machine. So the kernel 6.1.0, because of all the desktop environment will be getting the 6.1, other than the AHS which will be getting 6.10.10. And about the uptime, it's almost 16 minutes. About the packages, 2114 dpkg, and shell bash version is 5.2.15. My monitor resolution, which I already mentioned in the beginning, Xfce 4.18. So these are all other things like themes, terminal, icons, and all those things. So about the fonts, here is the fonts. About the CPU, which I already mentioned in the beginning. About the RAM, it's consuming 1391 MB. So let's see, it's consuming 1.6 GB. And about the other things, let me type in inxi-sv8. So let's go up and get all the information. So system, MX Linux, the kernel, which I already mentioned. So it's a 64-bit. Compiler GCC version is 12.2.0. And the desktop environment version is 4.18.1. GTK version is 3.24.36. And the XFWM version is 4.18. LightDM version is 1.26.0. Distro is MX Linux 23.4. The codename of MX Linux 23 is Librito, which I already mentioned. The ISO file is released on September 15, 2024, and it's based on Debian New Linux 12.7 bookworm. So it says 12, but it's based on 12.7 bookworm, which I already mentioned in the beginning, and also they mentioned in the official website. So here is the machine information of the virtual machine or the VMware. So it's not important, so we're just going to ignore all those things. And about the RAM, I'm using 8 GB of RAM. The available RAM is 7.72 GB and it's using 1.62 GB. And about the CPU, here is complete information of the CPU, because we don't need to go through all those things because it's unnecessary for the video. And about the vulnerabilities, here is all the information of the vulnerabilities. And about the graphics, VMWGFX version is 2.20.0. And here is all the information. Display is X11, which I already mentioned in the beginning. X.org version is 1.21.1.7. XFWM version already mentioned. And what else we left in the graphics? Nothing. So here is the monitor resolutions available. And the OpenGL version is 4.3. Mesa version 22.3.6 also showed in the browser. So about the audio, let's go through all the audio information. So here is the ELSA version. The Pipewire version is 1.0.0, and jack and all the available audio information is right here. So here is complete network, Bluetooth, the RAID, drives, partitions, USB, and all the other information is right here. And also the repos is available right here. So we don't need any of those things. Just go to the process. So it's running 282 process. Uptime is 17 minutes. Wake ups 1 or 2. Init system D version. Init system vinit version 3.0.6. Sorry, I'm a bit tired, so that's the reason my voice is a bit of stuttering. And here is the GCC version, which is 12.2.0. Shell bash version already mentioned. Here is the INXI version. So let's type in cat:/etc/issue. Hit enter. So here you should be seeing all the information. And let's type in some same commands. INXI. So you got all the information by INXI-S wait, but if you want this specific information, you just need to type in like this. INXI-small b, INXI-capital F, INXI-capital G. So we got all the complete information. Here is the headstop. So we got all the information. And about the installer, there is no changes in the installer. Let me show you that also. I'm not going to install because I need to make another video, so that's the reason. Just click on escape and you should be skipped this option if you don't want. So here is the installer, same things, nothing changed. So you can install. If you don't know how to install, you just need to watch tutorials in the YouTube. So there will be short videos like a 2 or 3 minutes videos. So you can check those things and you can install it. If you ask about my channel, I never made a installation tutorial video. Specific installation tutorials, I covered like everything throughout about the distros, like features and all those things. So I don't have any specific installation tutorial, so that's the reason I'm recommending other channels. And also my videos will be a bit lengthy because I'll be covering like a lot of things. And also my videos, I have posted like 3,000 videos of all Linux distros. It's pretty much hard to remember in which video I installed on the bare metal. So that's the reason I'm recommending to watch some other channels. So about the desktop backgrounds, let's go and check the backgrounds. So these are all the available backgrounds in the MX Linux 23.4. So most of them will be same as in the previous version. So they never said anything changed in this version, but I think this is some changes, I guess, but I don't really remember because it's pretty much very hard to remember anything, because I'll be posting 2 videos daily. It's pretty much very hard to remember anything. So I hope you understand those things. So if you are already running the MX Linux, so you can easily find the changes here. So I'm going to keep this one because it looks pretty much simple, and the colors also is pretty much good. So here are all the changes. You can add the folders, file system, trash, and all those things. So you can change according to your customization and according to your looks. So whatever you want to feel, you can change your looks of the desktop backgrounds. About the panel preference, here are all the changes. Appearance you can change according to your wish. Here are all the items you can add, you can remove, you can do whatever you want here. So these are all the same changes, so I don't think there is any major change here. Let's close everything. And these are all the available features on the panel or the dock. About the internet connection, the power, I kept everything as default, so I didn't change anything in the power manager and all those things. So I kept everything like volume same, everything is same. So there is no changes in my distro. So I didn't change anything. I kept everything default because I want to give all those things default. I didn't even install anything here. So about the tuner file manager, you can customize, you can do whatever you want here. So you can change the customization. So these are all the shortcuts you can change. You already know all this from the previous version, so there is literally nothing to show here. So the version you get is a 4.18.11. so CPU is pretty much stable throughout the video. So only thing is left right now, so is to do a stress test. Before that, let's check some updates here. View and upgrade, and here are some things. And if you want to upgrade, you can upgrade. If you want to close, if you want to reload, automatically answer yes to all prompts during upgrade, automatically close the terminal window when upgrade is complete. So these are all the changes. You get the version of Firefox and also some information here like a helper and all those things. So you can clearly see on the screen. So I'm just going to close everything. So I'm just going to show you first the pre-installed applications you get in the MX Linux 23.4. Let's make it bigger. Let's click on all applications. So here is all the applications or pre-installed applications you get. Most of them from the MX Linux, most of them from the Xfce. So there are a lot of applications available. If you consider it as a bloatware, it's a bloatware. Then if you consider it as important applications, then it's clearly important, because like a Thunderbird, a torrent client, a browser, and a VLC media player, like a game, there are like a basic normal user applications. So I don't think it's as a bloatware in my point of view, but it will be a bit different for a lot of users. So these are all some basic or usually using applications. So a normal user, you'll be using the Thunderbird sometimes, and also the browsers, media player, audio player, and all those things. So these are all the basic things you get. So I'm going to show you the themes available. So these are all the themes available in the MX 23.4. So you can change to MX Comfort, the light one, or also and also the dark one. And here is the same Advaita. So here is the Arc, Blackbird. Here are the icons, and here are all the fonts. Here is the settings. If you want like a bigger fonts and all those things, you can just click on into 2x, and you should be seeing the task manager a bit bigger and also all those things bigger. So let me first show you. So like this. So people who have like who can't properly see, you can change according to this. But people who has a good eyesight, you can choose like this. It's clearly up to you. If you can't see anything, you can easily change it to 2x, but it will be way more bigger. So it's clearly up to you. So I'm going to keep like a 1x because most of my viewers are desktop users, and I changed in the 2x in the previous videos like maybe 6 months ago. Most of the users were complaining like you don't need to change like a 2x, you just keep it like a 1x. So I kept everything like a 1x. So these are all the changes. And final thing is I'm just going to like do a stress test. So basically a stress test means in my channel is opening a bunch of resource consuming applications to see whether the distro will handle a day-to-day task, because a normal user will be opening like a bunch of applications. For example, like 5 to 6 applications. He will be using a browser and also in the background like documents and photo editing apps like this. So we just need to open a bunch of applications and see whether this distro will handle day-to-day task. So MX Linux already proved that it's the best Linux distribution in all the Linux industry, but some of the viewers who doesn't know this, you can do a stress test on your own. So there is no such thing that I like MX Linux or some Linux distribution. I don't like any of the distributions. I just work on those distributions, and I just don't like any operating systems. It's clearly up to you. I don't recommend any of the Linux distributions in my channel because I'm just going to give you information of that specific Linux distribution. It will be clearly your opinion to judge whether to use those distributions or not. I don't even recommend the Windows 11, or I don't even recommend macOS or anything. So it's clearly up to you to decide whether to use it or not according to your requirements and all those things. Don't just blindly go and watch someone's video and judge whether to use those distributions or not. So you need to judge according to your requirements, and also it has support or not, and it has like a well-known Linux distro or not. So you just need to get all this information, and if it's okay, then you can go with those Linux distributions, or else you can just skip those distributions and go get another distributions, because there are a lot of Linux distributions available in this Linux market. So I opened like a bunch of applications already, so it's running properly without issues. Let me show you the task manager first. So there is some high graph here because of when you open all the applications at once, so you should be seeing a high graph. So you just need to ignore these things, and you need to see after all the applications opened, you should be seeing a stable graph again. So don't just burst by saying these things. You need to judge according to all those things. You need to consider all those things, and you need to judge whether to use these distributions or not. First thing, you need to judge whether this distribution is supported for few years or not, and whether it's running stably or not, and whether it's well-known Linux distributions or not. You need to consider all those things, and you need to judge. Don't just blindly go with one thing, and if it's in this case, if it has like any lag or anything in my video, then don't just blindly think it will be also laggy in the bare metal, because in the virtual machines there will be some issues. So don't judge by just a video. You need to try it on your own and decide whether to use it or not. And always do your own research whether this Linux distribution has some issues or not. So always go with the well-known distributions or the people's choice Linux distributions, because if you have any issues, you can easily ask some other viewers also, or else you can ask in the forums, so that people can also help you. So that's the reason I always recommend you to go with the well-known distributions instead of some random distributions. So people, good heart people will try to help you. So that's the reason always go with the well-known distributions, and always go with whether the Linux distribution has support, and also whether it's stable or not. Like you need to go and get this type of, you need to do a research like this, instead of don't just go with the fancy things and look wise. Always go with the stable things, and people can help you if you have the for example, if you downloaded the Debian, most of the people will help you with the Debian. If you go with the MX Linux, most of the people will help with MX Linux. So go with the well-known distributions, and also people's liking distributions. So a lot of peoples are good peoples who try to help you. So that's the reason always go with the well-known distributions instead of going with the fancy things or fancy Linux distributions, because we don't know whether it has some privacy issues or not. So that's the reason go with the well-known distributions. So let's do a stress test. So I'm trying to switch the applications right now, so I don't see any issues, I don't see any lag. So as you can see, there is no lag or any crashes or anything like that. And also after opening all the applications, it's just consuming 2.8 GB of RAM. So when you run it on the bare metal, it's going to be consuming a way lesser, like a 500 MB, 400 MB of RAM lesser, and also the CPU will be consuming way lesser. So you don't judge by seeing these numbers, because when you run it on the bare metal, it's going to consume a way bit lesser. So you need to judge according to your own. So about the system requirements, I forgot to show you the system requirements of MX Linux. So let me show you first. Let's type in MX Linux system requirements. You just need to type in like this, and the official website or the Wikipedia are going to show you how much of requirements you need. So here it is. So it says 8.5 GB of hard drive, 1 GB of RAM, and bootable CD drive, a modern Intel or AMD processor. So it's not a lightweight, but some people consider it as a lightweight, because people consider under Some people thinks 1.5 GB is lightweight. For some people thinks also like a 500-600 MB of RAM consuming is lightweight. So there are different opinions. So you need to judge on according to your wish. So it was consuming like a 1.1 GB. So it's clearly up to you. When I booted, it was consuming like a 1.1 GB, and it was on the virtual machine. So when you run it on the bare metal, it will be also consuming less. So it's clearly up to you to consider whether it's a lightweight or a heavyweight or a midweight. It's clearly up to you. So these are all the resources or the minimum requirements of the MX Linux. But if you ask me, you need to, in order to run almost every Linux distribution in 2024, you need to have like a 2 GHz dual core processor or more, and like a 4 GB of RAM or more, or maybe like a 2 GB or 4 GB. It's clearly according to the Linux distro. But in 2024, you need to have like a 4 GB of RAM in order to run like a 60 to 70% of every Linux distro. And about the hard disk or a virtual disk, whatever disk, it's like a 30 GB or 40 GB will be okay. And about the monitor, you need to have like a 1366 x 768 or like a 1920 x 1080. Most of the users in the 2024 will be having like a 1920 x 1080, but if you have a lesser also, it will be okay. And these were all the recommended requirements according to me. But if you have a low-end PC, you can try any Linux distribution on your own and decide. So there are plenty of lightweight Linux distributions also. You can go use, if you have like a low-end PC, you can try another distributions, because a lot of Linux distributions also can run on the low-end PCs. For example, there is like a Tiny Core Linux, Lubuntu, and the desktop environments with the LXQT distros can also be run. So there are plenty of options. So you don't need to worry about that you need to buy any new PC or anything like that. So there is no such thing. Even if you have like a low-end PC, there are a lot of distributions which can run easily on low-end PC. Like a smooth buttery experience will be available if you go with the lightweight Linux distributions. So you don't need to purchase any new things. If you have like most of the people doesn't know you need to buy like new PCs for the Linux, but there is no such thing like that. The Linux was only made for the old computers and for PCs who have like a, for example, if you have like a laptop which has like older versions of operating systems, you can change to Linux and you can easily run with newer hardwares and newer applications. So that's the reason Linux was made. So there is no such thing. You don't need to buy a new thing or a new PCs or like that. So you can choose whatever desktop environment you want or the whatever Linux distros you want. You just need to do your research and you can get easily all the informations. And let's check all the informations of the applications and we're going to end the video. So about the LibreOffice, you get the 7.4.7.2 application. Let's close it. And about the browser, 130 Firefox. About the Xfce, we already got all the information in the terminal, so it's clearly unnecessary right now. About the Thunderbird, here is the Thunderbird. I don't know what version it is. So it should be like maybe like a 115 Supernova. Let's close it. Here is the VLC media player 3.0.21, and here is the SnapTag package manager. About the SnapTag, here is the version 0.91.3. So I pronounced it oddly, I don't know why, but it's not a SnapTag, it's a SnapTag package manager. I don't know, maybe because of tiredness I said like that, but you can easily pronounce according to you. So here are all the packages installed, and the installed version will be on the left side, the latest version available will be on the right side, and the size of the packages will be here, and about the description, here is the description. So you just need to scroll it down. You can just pause the video or you can change the playback speed in order to see all the packages. So the installed packages will be highlighted with the boxes. For example, let me show you. So here are all the installed packages will be highlighted like this. So that was the SnapTag package manager, and tuner I already mentioned. So throughout the video it was running without flaw, so everything was running smoothly without issues. So you have the latest stable version, you get the stable Debian 12.7 based MX Linux. So you got all the information about the MX 23.4, And also I'm going to make another video because I'll be posting 2 videos. So if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. It helps channel growth and also it helps me. So it's clearly up to you. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe, or else you can just watch the video. It's clearly up to you. I don't force anything. So you can easily give your opinion in the comments. So there is no hate or anything like that in my comment section. You can easily, or you can clearly say your opinions. You don't need to hide your opinions. You can clearly say anything you want in your opinion in the comment section. It also helps others and also it helps me too. So that was the video of MX Linux 23.4. So I think I'm going to end the video here because we covered pretty much everything. So if I forgot anything, do let me know in the comment section. So I'm going to show you the logout screen and I'm going to end the video. So everything was working properly without issues. And also the username and password is the same, which is DEMO. And here is the accessibilities, keyboard, languages, and the session, the Xfce session. Here is the date, time, and all those things. So I think that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Peace out.